Welcome back to the Own It Show. You know me, Heather Lee. I'm here to help inspire you to own your life and live your life on your own terms. But we really have this show to help uncommon knowledge become common and also to help inspire conscious entrepreneurs like yourselves to truly step into your greatness and own it. And so, as you have seen, we have been bringing amazing entrepreneurs to you to share about their zones of genius and their entrepreneur journey. So we're really blessed today to have special guests with us. We have 2 episodes today. And today we have the incredible Renee, and she's got quite the incredible bio. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you about her. So who are you? What do you do? Who do you help? And what do you help them get?
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show and for that intro. Thank you so much. I am Renee Dominguez. I'm the founder and CEO of Empowered Leadership. And I have a successful business empowering women who are professional women, entrepreneurs who want to get to that next level. But I wasn't always like this. My story starts back being a high school statistic. I was a high school dropout who was homeless and also a teenage mom. I did not think that success was possible for me. I did not grow up in a household where we use the word business, entrepreneurship, goals, boundaries. Like those were not words that I grew up hearing. I grew up, get a job and pay your bills. That was it. So I did not know that success could be afforded to me. I knew that I was someone who had a dream. I had a vision, and I knew I wasn't meant to play small. But what did that look like? I had no idea. So fast forward, I am in a corporate job. I created Corporate Renee, and I was able to go back to school. I got my high school diploma because I said, in case one day I win the lottery or I marry someone rich, I can then go to school and go to college. Well, neither of those happened. I actually got let go at my job. And that became the trend on my failures became my successes. I failed my way up to success. That opportunity allowed me to go back to school. So I didn't get just 1 degree. I got 2 degrees. And again, back in corporate world, a strong, powerful female who commands her space was surrounded with men. I was always in male dominant industries. And so I knew what it was like to not be heard, seen, or respected. I knew what it was like to not feel valued. And things came to a halt at my job where I said, instead of dropping the mic, I dropped the pen and I said, I'm out right then and there. I had no plan. Again, I didn't know what entrepreneurship was. Even to that day, that wasn't a word I used in my vocabulary. So again, I felt like I got under the radar. They let me into universities. I got 2 degrees. Maybe I can get away with it again. Do I need a 3rd degree in entrepreneurship? Because I had no idea. I didn't see anyone else who was like me, who had my background starting a business. But people laughed and they said, really cute, Renee. You don't need a degree in entrepreneurship to start a business. So I just started sharing my story with other people, and these other women were raising their hand, and they were lawyers, they were doctors, they were therapists, they were realtors, they were women who had a seat at the table, and they were all raising their hands saying, who's talking to us? Who's helping us? Decisions are being made and we are being excluded. They're being made by all the men in the room. How do I show up? How do I be authentic and still be a powerful leader? And I said, I know. How do we do it? But they were looking at me for the answers. And I'm like, who are they talking to? Like, it couldn't be me. But the universe kept putting these random women in front of me. And so I finally said, okay, universe, you win. You got my attention. What would you like me to do with this? So that started my entrepreneurship journey where I'm helping women who are in corporate, women who are busy professionals on how to claim their stake. Just like you, how can they live life on their terms? How can they empower themselves to be the disruptor of the status quo and start empowering themselves to take back their power so that they too can be heard, seen, and respected?
I love that. And I love your story and your journey. And I love how we have everyone on here is so different because, wow, you are a strong, powerful woman. And that takes some kind of resilience
Yes.
persistence, willpower, an attitude of I'm burning the boats and I'm going to be successful no matter what kind of attitude. And just
Yeah.
hats off to you and
Thank
congratulations.
you. Well, I actually thank you for all that, but it took being naive. I didn't know what I didn't know. That's really what it came down to. I'm just like, I always felt like I was under the radar, but that wasn't true. But I didn't know how to give myself credit because I never was an environment that gave me credit. So I didn't
Well,
know how
you
to give
still just
myself.
didn't receive the credit. I just
Yeah.
gave you credit. You literally wouldn't be where you are now if you weren't persistent, resilient, all the things. Receive, my friend, receive.
We're all learning. We're all learning how to step into our power.
Funny self-image is like, no, I can't be that. No,
Yeah.
you're absolutely that and
Very
all of that and
observant.
more.
Thank you.
It's what I do, no big deal. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, it's also showing women that they can have a seat at the table.
Yes.
And that when they get that seat at the table, it's not just a thing that, we need so many women or that person's here. That voice is actually heard and seen. And I really love how you said that. So what do you do to help women be heard and seen?
Yes, but before I answer that, just because
Mhm.
you pointed it back to me, before we can be heard, seen, and respected, we have to do it for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that
Yeah.
let's just put that out there. Before we can be heard, seen, and respected by others, let's do it for ourselves. So
Absolutely.
so I created a community because I wish I had a community. I always felt alone. I felt like I had to create success alone, and I couldn't be vulnerable. I couldn't show emotions. I couldn't have transparency on how I was feeling. And so I created a community where women who are powerhouses can be in a safe space to share what's going on and have this community. I call this community our board of directors. So everyone is the CEO of themselves and they have a board of directors, a board of advisors that they can go to with this is what's going on. How should I handle it? This is what I'm thinking. I need some brainstorming. Who's available right now? I created this community. So not one woman can ever feel alone. So every woman knows that she is supported, that she's in an environment with other like-minded women who are all stepping outside their comfort zone, who are stepping outside of their current situation, knowing that their current circumstances does not dictate their future successes. And we get so
Absolutely.
caught up, right? Where we tell ourselves these stories. You caught me doing that still. I have a story in my head. And we need someone to shake us up and say, that's no longer your story. And help us remind ourselves, what is our story? What am I doing? Women in this day and age, things are different. We get to be disruptors of the status quo. And part of that is that we get to empower ourselves to say, I will no longer work long hours. I will no longer take your calls after hours. I will no longer be treated this way. I'm going to put healthy boundaries in place. I'm going to allow myself to be who I'm meant to be because I want more joy. I want more happiness and I want to feel fulfilled more than anything. It's no longer about the money. It's about, do I have a purpose here? And am I doing everything in my power to step and lean into it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not about taking our success as how busy we are, how productive we're being. It's actually about how much less we can work and how much more joy we can bring in our life and how much we're doing what we love, not doing what we think we're supposed to be doing. So I love
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. I mean, I started my business helping leaders because that was me. And then these women said, I'm crushing it in my career now, thanks to you, but my life is still, it sucks. I don't have healthy relationships. I'm not feeling fulfilled still. So I dedicated 2022, the part of the year of the great resignation, on let's create self-mastery in all areas of our life. So we are powerhouses in all areas, not just in 1/6 of our life.
Absolutely. And we must do that. And that's our whole principle here at
Yeah.
on Empire is a holistic approach, self
Yeah.
and business mastery, because we
Mm-hmm.
have certain balls in our lives,
Yeah.
relationships, integrity, business or career, and what have you, health, all the things. And if we drop any of the balls for so long, some of them break, like
Yeah.
our health. And the
Yes.
imbalance just doesn't work. We have to actually work on the harmony of
Yes.
hitting all areas of our life and actually holistically treating ourselves and our lives like a whole. Because great if you're a millionaire, but if your health is gone, you trade the $1 million to have your health
Yeah.
back.
Or you be a millionaire and like, I don't enjoy $1 of it because I'm miserable.
Exactly. Exactly. You need to find the joy and do what you love. Right?
Yes.
It's all
Yes.
about doing what you love. And that's what we're all about here. And what I've said many times, Bob Proctor teaches whatever you're doing right now, you're trading your life for.
Mhm.
So make sure it's worth you.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So you have some tips on your zone of genius for our audience today. So what are
Yes.
a few tips that you can leave with them so they can have some ahas, wins, and breakthroughs
Mhm.
today?
Well, I have a whole lot, so I don't know what I even was sharing with you, what my superpowers I was going to share. But one thing that I feel is really important that I've been talking a lot about is our body language. And what is our body language saying? So an example could be like, I'm so happy to be here. And you would feel that. Or I could say, I'm so happy to be here. Right? Our body
Second one
language.
was fantastic.
And it's conveying a message. 80% of our communication is our body language. We think it's the words that we say, but it's not. It's what's my body language saying? And what is my tonality saying? I'm so happy to be here versus I'm so happy to be here. Again, my tonality totally shifted and it gives you a different message. And you're like, crap, she doesn't want to be here. This is going to be a hard podcast. This is going to be a hard person that I'm going to have to guide through. I'm probably going to do most of the talking. Instead of you being present, you're in your head telling a story based on like, how am I going to course correct this? She doesn't want to be here. So be mindful. What is your body language saying? Are you being present? We're all on Zoom. We're all on our computers more than ever. So how am I showing up? Am I slouching and saying like, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Again, all you have is this to play with. So we want to be
This
mindful.
little square.
Right. So, what is that message I'm conveying? And am I being present? Am I looking at the camera? Am I sitting up straight? What can we do to be present? So, when we're talking to our teammates, we're talking to clients, we are talking to potential um, uh, future clients, we're talking to organizations. How am I showing up as a person? Because we get first impression is real, right? And we get pretty much like 3.3 seconds to leave an impression.
They
So what
even
is that
say
impression?
people have a listening of you before you've even opened your mouth. And it's from your metaphysics and physics, but from your
Mhm.
body language majority wise. So they already have a story of who you are just by how you showed up physically.
Yes, absolutely. So the second superpower of mine, I'm going to say, is being mindful of the words that we say. And this is something that we will always continue to be working on. But am I giving power and energy to I need to? I need to change. I need to adopt a new habit. I need to fix this versus I get to empower myself to step into a next level. I get to make changes. I get to let go of what no longer serves me so I can bring in a new power hack, a new habit. The words carry so much value, and I'm sure for you, you hear the same thing and see it in their body language when they say, I have to. I know I need to. Like their body language, like, it feels heavy. And unconsciously, they don't know that they're even doing that because they're just so used to it. They're conditioned. But when I have them say, I get to make positive changes, just them saying that, they're like, I get to. They're like, ooh, they stand up and they sound lighter. Their facial expressions are lighter. And we want to be mindful, what words am I saying and what power and energy am I giving to them? So I don't need to. I just need to. I just have to do that. No, I get to. I want to. I'm going to empower myself. Like, let's use words that do empower ourselves, but also Ooh, make us feel lighter. Let's have fun with this. I'm in control. I'm in charge. So let's get rid of those disempowering words and just use I get to. That's just an easy, quick fix, a great translation of words. I get to.
And
And
that's one change. I just have to say how much of a difference that one change makes. And I was literally talking to somebody yesterday, and they're in a fitness challenge, and they get to do 2 workouts a week. And if they don't, they get kicked out. So she has till Saturday, and she looked at me and she went, I get to do 2 workouts in the next 24 hours or I get kicked out. So it's just a totally different kind of energy. And I looked at her and I went, yes, you're right. You get to. And there's the metaphysics, so the energy that goes with every word. But we also know from Dr. Bruce Lipton that every single thought has a physiological response. So your language, as an NLP we teach, has a huge impact on your neurology, on your physiology, on your point of attraction, on your metaphysics. And here in our community, one of the biggest things we lean into is our language. It is one of the most important things, and everybody knows I'm always correcting. That's why I immediately corrected you in the beginning, right? Like it's such habit. And when we can be observers of our thoughts and our language and constantly course correct so that we can be in the right physiology, have the right point of attraction, send the right message, be in the right frequency, then life can and gets to be a little bit more fun and easy and blissful, just as you were saying.
Absolutely. And we forget to give ourselves that permission because we feel like we need to wait to be validated. We need for someone to appoint us. Yes, you can. I grant you permission. You can be great. You can go do things.
And we actually, we're born great. We just have to believe in our own confidence.
Yeah. So let's talk about the third superpower of mine that I think that's something I do, and I preach. I don't want to say preach, but I talk a lot with my clients about as well. Is let's not create goals based off tangible things. Let's create goals that make us feel empowered, that's making a difference. More than anything, for the most of us as women, we want to lead by example. We want to mentor others. So before it used to be like, I want to get 6 figures. I want to have that bonus. I want to have this house. I want all these, tangible things that don't really add value to our life, because now I got to keep this up to maintain all this.
Exactly.
And then the people who surrounded me, are they there for me, or are they there because of the fun that I am, having all these things and I'm bringing people into my ecosystem? It's really about like, why am I doing what I'm doing? How can I be intentional? Is this really about leaving a legacy, or is this about being egotistic and greedy? Because when we fall down that path, we wake up not motivated, right? We wake up going to our phone and scrolling because we're procrastinating. I don't want to start today because it's going to be soul sucking. And I know it, but I created this and I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know how to even do it differently. But when we tap into our intuition and we go into our heart and we say, like, what do I feel called to do? What's my true meaning and purpose in life? Is it to collect things, or is it to create experiences? Is it to create experiences for others so then they can then do the same for others? And that is always a game changer for my clients when they get caught up in the how, and I need to have this because this is what is expected. Now I ask them, what's expected from you, from yourself? Oh, it's such a game changer.
I love that. And I want to lean into that a bit because here we teach to start with your bag. We call it your big, hairy, audacious goal, your life purpose statement, what you came here to do, what sets your soul on fire. Because as I said, whatever you're doing, you're trading your life for. So actually decide what you want that impact and that legacy to be first. And then figure out what are your gifts. And then turn that into your secret sauce and go and share it with the world. I truly believe full ascension is when we master self and our craft, and we can turn around and teach others and bring them up with us.
Yeah.
And so we have to continue on that self-growth journey, that entrepreneurship journey. It requires all the things, but more than anything, it requires something bigger than ourselves, a dream that's bigger than ourselves, a purpose that's bigger than ourselves, that gets us out of bed. My dad always said, you need to hit the floor. When your feet hit the floor, there needs to be a purpose every day. As soon as he hit retirement, he's like, it doesn't matter. My feet hit the floor with the purpose every day. And it's waking up with that burning desire, that passion, that purpose. But it's taking that inner time. And I think this is what most people don't do, is take that inner time to do the inner work to discover, what do you love?
Because they don't know. Like, we don't learn this in college. We don't grow up, for most of us, I'm speaking to myself, we don't grow up learning these tools. I grew up just like, grow up, like get good grades, graduate from high school, and just go get a job and pay your bills and live your life. Like, I was never talked about follow your intuition. What does your intuition say, Renee? What do you feel called to do? Like, and then in college, it's all about just study, memorize, learn, pass your exam, and then rinse and repeat. Not about how can I be a leader, like in the true essence of leadership. Not manage, not micromanage, not be there to beat down people, but how can I be a leader that makes a difference?
I love that. And leaves an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's our mission in our company, is to grow conscious entrepreneurs that are birthing the new earth, that make those old systems obsolete, that actually puts people over profit and purpose first. And which is not the current system. So we are so grateful for you and what you're doing and your knowledge, and you changing the corporate world and having the attitudes and mindsets and energy be switched in the corporate world, because I chose never to even go there.
Oh, well, amen, girlfriend.
I had a corporate, we could call it, job for like 8 months. I had 2 people fired for their behavior. I was like, this is what this is like here? Hell no. I was like, you're gone. And after I fix it, I'm out. And I've had my own business for over 11 years. And I truly believe it is all in the leadership. It is not in the micromanagement. Absolutely. If you want people to follow you, you show them the way by what you're doing. And leading by example is the best way. And I remember when I first really dove into NLP and all the personal growth and everything, and you're trying to tell people you can change your life. You're walking around like your 7-year-old self. You know, you're being mean to yourself. Your language sucks. You're trying to share all this with people, and people don't resist change. They resist being changed. So that somebody said, listen, just show us. Stop telling us to do this. Just show us. And I was like, okay, well, watch. Yeah. You could use a telescope to see the moon to look back from where I've come from that point. And so the leadership is in leading by example, 100%. I love it.
Yeah. And then it requires us to be transparent, right? And vulnerable. You're like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and I want you guys to follow what I'm doing so you can learn. Because it's about learning from each other and fast tracking our progress and our successes, because we are stronger together. And when we can empower each other and lock arms, and I have no doubt you do this with your community, we all grow together. We're not figuring it out. We're not like, well, I don't know what to do. We're in a community. I don't know what to do. Who has done it before?
Exactly.
How can I learn from you?
Yes, exactly. And that's why we have masterminds, because Jim Rohn, I read a decade ago, and he said, why would you spend 10 years figuring out all the ways it doesn't work when you could read a book or get a mentor or hire a coach or join a mastermind where people can just tell you, here's your pitfalls to avoid and here's the best way to go. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that brings me a thought, so I've been going to some Tony Robbins events. I went to his first live one in 2 years last November. And it's really about immersion, immersing yourself. You're like, I may not be able to afford a mastermind, but how can I still immerse myself into that knowledge? So it's listening to podcasts like this. It's looking and reading books that people recommend that's helped them. It's signing up for those conferences, those seminars, putting yourself in the room in person or virtually, just immersing yourself in that knowledge database of people is where you start to grow. And then you'll be like, okay, maybe it wasn't that I wasn't able to afford the mastermind, I was not confident in myself that I would perform and show up.
Yeah, or we don't believe we're worth it, right? And it took a lot
Yes.
of personal growth before I invested heavily into a mentoring coach. And then that year that I did, my life was unrecognizable. And I was like, what have I been waiting for?
Right?
I had done all the traditional certifications, all the designations behind my name, but not like a
Check, check.
self-mastery
Yeah.
coach,
I'm
right?
with you, girl. I'm with you. I did all that too. And it's kind of a protective barrier. We become information junkies.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Every certification, every book, done all the things.
Yeah.
But actually had to pause to do self-reflection, self-growth,
Yeah.
understand human conditioning and behavior, and get out of our own way and stop being our own glass ceiling.
Yes. 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 But then for me, I love that you avoided corporate. I had to go through corporate because it landed me here to help others. So everything's always a blessing. It all works out, right? The way it's supposed to.
Absolutely. And I had to go through my health and entrepreneur journey so that I could be here to help people with self and business mastery. And I joke that the universe was so kind to give me so many growth opportunities that I'm able to turn
Right.
around.
Again, it's that mindset of the words that you used, right? It changes your
Absolutely.
whole physiology.
So many growth opportunities, and that brings us
I like
here
it.
today, and I'm grateful for them. And that took
Mhm.
time, and
Yeah.
that took, the inner work, and that's what we need to do, is that inner work, so that we can
Mhm.
step into that greatness and own it. So I love that you call them superpowers. I
Yeah.
think that is super cool. Do you have any other superpowers or last tips for everyone before we tune out today?
Yeah, this is not a superpower, but it's just putting it out there. If you feel called, if you're resonating with this message, raise your hand and say, "How could I learn more?" I mean, this is about this is a great opportunity to I get to be a disruptor of the status quo, and I get to, again, those powerful words, I get to change the way I'm showing up. And the first change in my life is the investment into me. We invest into our degrees, we invest into our learning, our certifications, but we don't always give ourselves permission to invest into ourselves, saying I am worth it. And I feel like if you can see it, you can achieve it. So I want to just leave your audience with that. If they can see it, then they know they can achieve it. It's about raising their hand and saying, who else has done it? And can I learn from you?
I love that. That's beautiful. No need to do it alone. No
Oh,
successful person did it alone. Hell
nope.
no. Absolutely. I love that. Put your hand up, ask for the help, be ready and willing to receive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you're amazing. Your energy is amazing. Your knowledge is amazing. I love what you're doing, because so many of the people that we work with, they're coming out and they have corporate PTSD. And we're
Oh,
helping them become entrepreneurs because of the corporate environment. So I'm so grateful that you are there making a shift with the people in the corporate environment, so that we can have corporations and people that put people first over profits.
yes.
And
Yes.
lead by example. So thank you so much for what you
Oh,
do.
thank you.
You're welcome. Where can people learn more about you, find out more about you, any events you've got coming up?
Yes. The easiest way to connect with me is on Instagram at Empowered Coach. Empowered Coach. That's the easiest way. And right now, I'm in a development of investing myself in learning. I'm traveling a lot in May. I'm going to be traveling to be on a TV show. I'm traveling to Jordan in the Middle East for a Mind Valley event. And so talk about putting myself outside my comfort zone. And I'm going to be in the room with people who I'm like, oh my gosh, these people have done some amazing things. So, but it gets me excited because I'm like, ooh, I get to up level my game.
Love that. I think my favorite thing that you said, and you said it a couple times, was put yourself in the room with the right people so that you can make the change, because we are the average of the 5 people we surround ourselves with. So you are putting yourselves in the right room. I'm grateful to be in the room here with you today.
Thank
And
you.
I'm
Likewise.
thank you. And I'm looking forward to staying connected and continuing to inspire people to own their greatness with you. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely my pleasure. So everybody, stay happy, healthy, wealthy, expect magic and miracles. And what's the best that can happen? We'll see you next time.